Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and before I get into my weekly comic book review, I just want to give some news. Okay, first of all, last week I did say I didn't get Invincible because apparently it didn't arrive at my comic shop. Well, the same thing happened with Secret Adventures number 22, so now I'm pretty much waiting another week in order to get those. They still didn't get Invincible, which I have no idea why. I don't know whether to blame the shop or the postal service, but whatever, it just basically sucks. And, okay, another new piece of news. Apparently, the DC Comics has decided to release Smallville Season 11. First they're going to release it. It's going to be released in April digitally first. Then it's going to apparently see print in May. So that seems a little weird that they're going to do the this seems like another way to promote digital comics by having them release the digital edition a month earlier and the print edition a month later. I still prefer the print edition, honestly, because, well, I don't really have a suitable reading device. I do have an iPhone, but it just gets annoying when I read comics on the small screen. And if I had an iPad, then yeah, I would probably consider getting the digital version, but now, I don't know, I'll probably wait for the print. But don't worry, it's going to be basically it's Smallville Season 11 it's going to tell the first year, I think it's going to tell the first year of Clark wearing the cape, being Superman stuff, which sounds very interesting, and also Lex Luthor will be back. So that's very interesting. It's something that everyone was probably wondering, after the finale, and whether or not they would make something like this. Well, they did, so Smallville fans rejoice at the news. Alright, now for my weekly comic reviews for the week of February 8th, 2012. And like before, I only have 2 DC comics and 4 Marvel, so I'm going to do DC first. So, kicking off DC with Green Lantern number 6. Hal Jordan is pretty much enjoying his time without the ring. He restarted his relationship with Carol Ferris, and things seem to be going great for Hal, as he says that he's glad that for once he's not Green Lantern or a superhero. Meanwhile, in space, Sinestro finds one of his old enemies known as Starstorm and gets him to help him track down former Sinestro Corps member Lisa Drac, and as well as the Book of Black, which, if you've been reading Green Lantern, you should know that the Book of Black contains a bunch of prophecies of the universe. It was first seen at the beginning to predict, Blackest Night and everything. And so Sinestro wants to find the book for who knows. And anyways, Sinestro does manage to find Lisa Drac, and he is able to defeat her and as well as take the book. But during the fight, though, Sinestro does rip out one of the pages of the book, and he sees a vision of the future that includes the Guardians. What looks like the Guardians are killing Green Lanterns. Sinestro has joined the Indigo Tribe, and Black Hand is standing over Hal Jordan's beaten and apparently killed body because it says Green Lantern 2814 deceased. And then Ganthet holding the white power ring. So there's your setup for future storylines. And so Sinestro beats Lisa, takes the Book of Black, heads to Earth, and Sinestro activates Hal's ring by having it fly out to Hal, then triggering the suit, saying that now he needs Hal Jordan's help yet again. And of course, Hal's initially refusing Sinestro, but Sinestro says that apparently he doesn't have a choice. So, that's pretty much Green Lantern. I really like this series. I think this is a great issue for people who, for some reason, haven't been reading this series yet. I think this is this right now is your jump-on point. It's the start of a new story arc, and it does sort of highlight a few things that might come soon. I really can't wait for all that stuff, especially now that we're getting into, apparently the next story arc is called The Secret of the Indigo Tribe, which I'm really interested in, because the Indigo Tribe has been very mysterious since their first appearance, and maybe it will be good to get some answers. Alright, now for my other DC comic, Superboy number 6. This takes place directly right after Teen Titans number 5. Superboy has pretty much severed all ties with Nowhere. He's done being their lab rat because he realizes that no matter what how much time he spends working for them, they're never going to give him the answers he wants. So he's going to go seek the answers himself. And also, he still feels bad about hurting the Teen Titans because at first he thought Nowhere just wanted to study metahumans, but now that they're sending him to attack innocent ones, he's just not willing to work for them anymore. So now he's decided to go after Nowhere, and he takes a few moments to sort of recount what recap what he's been through with the lies and everything, and his encounter with the Teen Titans, and he starts to reflect on it. And then suddenly Supergirl shows up, saying that she noticed the symbol on Superboy's uniform a while back, and she wants to know if he knows what it means. And of course, Supergirl in the New 52 apparently speaks, as far as I can tell, speaks nothing but Kryptonian in this entire issue. So she speaks in Kryptonian. Superboy doesn't understand her, and right when she walks up and touches the chest symbol, suddenly Superboy gets mental images of Krypton being destroyed, and also and he apparently can now speak Kryptonian. So apparently that's a new ability of his tactile telekinesis, which I am cool with. That seems like a very awesome power. And so when Superboy tries to explain to Supergirl that, he can tell that she's full alien, but he's only half Kryptonian and a half human clone, she punches him and calls him Con-El, which apparently now in Kryptonian is an insult for Kryptonian clone. And she labels him an abomination and stuff. Well, actually, I think Con-El, they say Con-El means abomination, apparently. So Supergirl does beat up Superboy a bit, but then he gets her to stop and sort of explain what the hell are you doing just because I'm a clone. And Supergirl explains that there were experiments done on Krypton with clones that eventually resulted in them going rogue and killing everyone, that soon Superboy might eventually turn into being a mindless killing machine. So that freaks Superboy out a little. Then a police helicopter shows up and gets ready to shoot them both, and while Superboy deals with that, Supergirl flies away, and she basically and Supergirl's role in this eventually leads into this month's Superman, apparently, because they did solicitate that in Superman number 6, Supergirl was going to make an appearance, and if you've been reading Supergirl, you might want to read this, because this does kind of explain why she might be appearing in the next issue. But back to Superboy. Anyways, after Supergirl flies away, Superboy continues on with his main goal to get to Nowhere. He arrives back at Nowhere's facility, rips open the door, only to find Rose Wilson waiting for him, and she says that now she's getting ready to kill him. Alright, well, apparently Superboy is now discovering empathy, and he's now aware of his Kryptonian origins. He knows of Supergirl, but he still doesn't exactly know about Superman. I mean, he really doesn't. He thinks that Nowhere invented the logo he wears on his chest, but apparently it's the emblem of the House of L, as Supergirl kind of explained to him. But, yeah, and I'm a little disappointed, too, about the name Con-El, because in the original, when Superboy, back in the 90s, in the original Superboy series, the name Con-El was actually given to him by Superman, because he showed Superboy some old video holograms about Krypton, and then sort of offered Superboy a real name so that because he officially treats Superboy as part of his family. And now apparently that name, which gave him so much joy in the old universe, now means abomination. Wow, way to take a happy memory from the old universe and turn it into something very awkward for me to read. But still, next issue, there's going to be a fight with Rose Wilson. And judging by the way Superboy may have handled the Teen Titans, Rose is definitely in for the fight of her life. And again, the Boy of Steel right now, he's discovering, emotions. Now he's officially turned on Nowhere, which is good because they were jerks. And now I guess after this whole Nowhere stuff is finished, right after he fights Rose and maybe joins the Teen Titans, he might start to branch off on his own and just kind of discover his own life. That's really what I think the series is headed for. So I might keep reading it just until maybe Superboy decides to stand on his own, and I want to see how that turns out. Okay, Marvel, Captain America #8. Last issue, Cap lost his super soldier serum, was deactivated last issue, but apparently at the start of the issue it was reactivated. He's able to make quick work of the Serpent Squad and defeats them. Then he heads off into the streets to sort of quell the riots caused by the Mad Bomb, and right when he gets the chance to try to talk to the rioters and calm them down, the serum deactivates again, and the people think he's a fake Captain America, and then they start to beat him up. But fortunately, Falcon comes in, saves Cap, and takes him to Tony Stark to get some more tests done. And also two side stories to this. Baron Zemo and Hydra have broken out Agent Bravo, and Sharon Carter is getting ready to interrogate the last villain who deactivated the super soldier serum in Steve Rogers' body, the Machine Smith. And the Machine Smith was the last villain because back in the Steve Rogers Super Soldier miniseries that was released, I think, 2 years ago, it's in collected edition, so you can check that out. Machine Smith did deactivate the Super Soldier serum before this, so I guess this might stem from his work from that story arc, and that's what Sharon wants to know. And also, the Machine Smith is, I should tell you this too, but the Machine Smith is some sort of electronic consciousness. He's basically a computer program now. His consciousness is now a computer program, which Sharon uploaded to the helicarrier, activated on the helicarrier computer, even though she closed off all wireless communications, and that if after 8 hours she doesn't reactivate the codes, then the helicarrier has to blow up. So, okay, I don't know. This is just getting. Now it just seems the whole loss of Steve's powers is becoming a little frequent and kind of annoying. Also, the thing with Sharon and trying to interrogate Machine Smith was an interesting way to end this, but I'm still not 100% behind the storyline. It's just the loss of Steve's power does appear to be more frequent, and still not so sure how all this stuff is connected back to Bravo, Zemo, and Hydra. It's just a little confusing. And back to something a little less confusing, because now we finally have answers for it. The Incredible Hulk, #5. Okay, before I get into this comic, I just want to say, spoiler, this does contain spoilers, so if you haven't read this yet, you've been looking forward to it, please skip this part of the review so you won't find out anything, because the person who helped separate the Hulk and Dr. Banner is revealed. And that person is Dr. Doom. Yep, Dr. Doom was the one that Hulk went to see to have them separated. Apparently, basically what Dr. Doom did was he performed brain surgery and cloned another body of made a Bruce Banner a clone body for Dr. Bruce Banner, and he was able to sort of rebuild their brains, but except only the parts with Bruce Banner went to the Banner body, and only the Hulk parts of the brain went to the Hulk. So they still have. So basically, it's a little complicated to sort of explain, but the issue does kind of explain it in a way, but it's a little complicated. More than just like boom, separated. It was actually a lot more complicated than that. And also, the flashback sort of ends with Dr. Doom asking Hulk not what he has to do for him. And back in the present, Hulk is able to rally all of the mutated animals against Dr. Banner, but except for one apparently super smart monkey that can transform into a regular monkey and hulked out monkey at will. And while the animals deal with that monkey, apparently, Hulk goes after Banner by himself right after Banner makes quick work of Amanda Von Doom and her team of mad scientist killers. So, while Hulk and Banner get ready to duke it out, Amanda Von Doom makes her way to Dr. Banner's lab where she's getting ready to detonate the gamma bomb so that I guess she can ultimately stop Banner once and for all. Okay, well, Doctor Doom. Didn't really expect that. It is an interesting choice for the figure. We don't exactly know what Doom got out of this deal, so that's something that I want to see next issue, though. I mean, I said as soon as I learn who this is, I'm probably going to drop Incredible Hulk. Well, now I want to know what Doom gets out of this, because it is interesting that Doctor Doom would want something. But right before they did do this, Hulk did say to Doom that he wasn't going to help him take over the world or kill anyone for him. So, still, that kind of really narrows it down somewhat for what Doom wanted. It's a little confusing, but yeah, I'd say stick around for the next issue so we can know what Doom wanted Hulk to do and stuff. But but this is still a very good series. And maybe next issue we'll finally actually see a real fight between Dr. Banner and the Hulk. Come on, quit teasing us, finally deliver on something. Alright? Okay, now for another Marvel series that I'm really enjoying. Wolverine and the X-Men! Alright, well, the issue starts off with Bobby Drake, Iceman, Angel, and Wolverine meeting at Angel's company, where apparently after discovering what happened to Angel, he's declared mentally insane, and all of his assets are frozen, and he's lost his position as CEO of his company. So basically now the school has lost a big chunk of their funds, especially after their attacks from the Hellfire Club and everything. Bobby's run through the numbers and saying that they really need money, a lot of it fast. And so Wolverine says that he'll solve it quickly. So he takes Quint and Quire, and they both blast off into space, which we will find out what happens to them next issue. Meanwhile, back at school, Kitty Pryde is not technically pregnant. What's actually happening inside Kitty is that there's microscopic members of the Brood, these alien things, inside her, and they're attacking her. And they're not trying to get out or take over her body, which is something that they're known for. They're just trying to kill her from the inside. And of course, it's not spreading to everyone else. It's just focused on Kitty, which we don't know why. And while Kitty's being attacked, the one particular member of the Jean Grey School, who everyone knows as Brew, he's like a smaller version of these guys, but he's more intelligent. He says that he's able to sense them inside Kitty. And also, Kid Gladiator takes one of the Pym particle suits that Beast was using to teach a biology lecture to shrink down and go inside and fight some of them that are in Kitty's body. And the issue ends with a scene in space where apparently some large alien with a swarm of Brood attached on a leash jump off, destroy their ship, and then head to Earth and locate the Jean Grey School. Okay, well, not exactly a lot to go on for what's going to happen to Wolverine and Quint and Quire in space, but I think that'll be expanded on next issue, as well as giving us a reason as to why the Brood are concentrating their attack on Kitty Pryde. And first, Kitty is a little freaked out, and the first person she does think about calling is Colossus. But this was a very good issue. I kind of like it when Kitty Pryde is sort of the center of a story like this, and it's very interesting that she's the one who's under attack by the Brood. So I want to know what that's going on next issue. But this is still a very great story. Artwork's not bad, and I would definitely recommend this to any X-Men fan out there. Okay, last comic, probably the comic of the week. Well, if I don't read, I would have probably said Secret Avengers, but I didn't get that. So, comic of the week, Scarlet Spider, #2. On his way out of town, Kane notices the explosion at the hospital where he left the girl he saved. And so, basically, the attacker who, I don't think he's given an actual name, but I'm calling him Fire Serpent because he's apparently able to create some serpent-like construct of fire, gets ready to attack the girl. Then suddenly Kane swoops in, fully costumed. So now, basically, Kane And Kane basically kicks the villain's ass, and right when he's finished, everyone just applauds him, congratulates him. They're all happy that a superhero's living in Houston. And then later in the evening, Kane goes to check on the girl, and the police officer there informs him that, and the police officer and the girl's doctor ask him to stay in Houston because they really need a superhero right now. And also they tell him that the girl is an illegal alien, and unfortunately that means that the law can't really protect her. So a little later in the evening, Kane takes the girl out of the hospital and puts her in the hotel room he had, and he officially decides to stay in Houston because he figures that even though he's not a hero, that doesn't mean he has to live life as a monster. And if things don't work out, Mexico is right next door. Okay, well, Scarlet Spider number 2, very great. Kane is finally in costume, and he's now ready to accept his responsibilities as the hero of Houston. I'm really liking this series, and he's definitely a different Spider hero than Spider-Man, okay? Because during the fight, it's not so much Kane's moves were different, but his methods. He was basically going head on against the Fire Serpent, and also at one point he even picks up a gun and uses it against the guy. I mean, that's not something Spider-Man would do. Kane's just a very interesting character. He's a lot like Peter Parker, but at the same time he isn't. And that's what makes this series very great, is that is just like what the tag says, all of the power but none of the responsibility. But now I guess he is taking some responsibility for the city, as now he's decided to become a hero. Or, I guess not a monster, technically. Or anti-hero. Yeah, let's say anti-hero, because he still doesn't consider himself a hero, but he's doing the right thing now. Well, that just about wraps up this comic review. So, short term, Scarlet Spider. Still like this series. Definitely my favorite series to come out this week. I highly recommend Spider-Man fans pick it up. Wolverine the XMen. Great way to kick off a short story arc. Can't wait for the next issue where we learn why Kitty was attacked and what Wolverine and Quentin are going to do in space to help the school with money. Incredible Hulk number 5. Finally, we get some answers about why Hulk and Banner separated, but we don't know what Hulk had to do in order to get it. And Captain America number 8. Even though Steve's powers keep getting turned on and off more frequently than a light switch, and I'm not still 100% behind the storyline. Superboy number 6. Finally, the Boy of Steel has developed some feelings. And he's learned of his true Kryptonian origin right after a brief fight with his somewhat relative Supergirl. Also, I would recommend this to some Supergirl fans just in case they want to know why Supergirl is going to be in Superman in 2 weeks. And Green Lantern number 6. Great jumping on point if you haven't been reading this series. We get some teasers for some future storylines, and Sinestro and Hal Jordan is finally getting ready to move on with is enjoying his life without the Power Ring. So, it's pretty great. And that concludes this week's comic review. Spider-Man 1991 saying thanks for watching and see you next week.